So nothing's happened with the tandem for a while. It was kind of rusty and looking sad, and we've talked about doing something, and yesterday the four of us all got inspired to actually stay late and just work on it to make it look better and kind of finish a lot of things that we've been meaning to do for a long time.
It's probably been about a year, hasn't it?
At least since
about
before I started working here.
Yeah, about a year. I think we've all been kind of itching to make some improvements and see some progress keep happening, so we stayed till about midnight last night.
No. We stayed till 1:30 last night.
1:30 last night and got some things done. Nick, what were you working on?
Spray paint. I spray painted it.
Yeah, were you wearing a mask?
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, Nick was, he did he actually prepped everything. He didn't just spray paint over the rust. He actually sanded it and did some detail work and then spray painted it. We went
steering wheel. Added a steering wheel.
Added
Very
a
nice
steering wheel.
Shifter.
Yeah, played with the shifter. Arel, what were you and Corey working on?
We've been working on some body panels. Like there's never been any body panel on the tandem, only tubes, so that's a way to make it a little more finished.
What are some interesting features about the panels?
Very simple, made out of one main piece, bent, so only facets. So we'll be able to see how it looks.
They really look good. You want to grab it?
Yep.
So tell me about how you guys got this to fit so good and the look that you wanted.
Skills.
So it's actually pretty neat how this came about. The entire thing started for me when I was in a meeting back in September or October, and Arel made a model of the tandem out of coffee stirrers, and it's a work of art. It's really beautiful. It has all the right tubes, and it's neat. And I was playing with it the whole time during the meeting. And when I got back to my desk, I had the idea for making these clip-on body clamps, and I actually printed a small set of them that fit onto his tandem model, and I borrowed it from him and I stuck them on. I took a business card and cut it up to simulate body panels, and we talked about it and we both liked the idea, and then took a little while to figure out what to use for a material, and I found out about this dye bond, which is a composite. It's an aluminum skin on two sides with I believe it's polyethylene in the center. So I got a couple of sheets of that, and they've been sitting because we were working on the building and other things. And then yesterday it was kind of like, hey, why don't we just do this thing? And so the four of us just spent a few hours last night. And there's a form actually against the wall, and Arel spent most of our time actually cutting and trimming and adjusting to get the panels to look right. And then we transferred the pattern onto the dye bond material, cut it out with the skill saw, and then put in the folds and then popped it on. So it's a very low cost but elegant looking body.
So what's the timeline on seeing like the full body on this thing?
Well, we're going to cut the other panel tonight, and we're in the process of printing some new body clips. The original ones were blue, and they were kind of bulky because it was a proof of concept, so now we're just refining them a little bit. They're going to be black, they're going to be smaller. On the original one, when I had a dummy panel in here, the clip was on the outside, and we're actually going to move it behind the panel, basically make it look a little more elegant. So, but I'd say by tomorrow, you'll see panels on both sides. And then it's just a matter of how fast we can pump out the clips on the 3D printers.
So basically the front end had a big, huge firewall added to it, and it was all 1 3/4 120 wall tube sleeved on, and a big 1/8 inch plate on the front. It was probably about 70 pounds of dead weight just added onto the front, which actually helped with the front traction a little bit, but in the wrong way of just adding dead weight and not playing with your traction bias between your tires via wheelbase changes. So I cut that off and actually started tubing a typical, front bumper style nose with bends and a little bit of crush space in it. In addition, I added these gusset plates to the ends of the tubes to actually cap the tubes off. And what that helps accomplish is basically a fracture point between something that's welded on and the main frame. So if the bumper does crush in, it's not going to tear these tubes right where they're joined together, and you have an open tube and a junction. It's not going to tear on the edges. So the front end of this should be lighter, and it should actually be a lot more resilient to any sort of front end impacts. In addition to that, it also be a lot more aesthetically pleasing and will kind of fit the rest of the car. It won't just be like, you know, a straight front end. It's also going to have these tubes right here. They aren't finished yet, but they'll tie in and weld on down here and give it a really cool look. And I'm going to have a faceted aluminum basically firewall slash, you know, front skid plate that will also tab onto the front. It'll look really, really nice. In the future, it'd be cool to play a little bit more with the A-arm geometry and the knuckles, take out a lot of the slack and improve upon the geometry. I think the front to rear weight bias could be improved a lot by moving the front wheels back about an inch or inch and a half to put a little bit more weight on the front wheels. In addition to that, it might benefit from about 1 more degree of caster and some very small subtle changes there. So it'd be pretty exciting to maybe mess with that in the future. In addition to us 4 working on it, one of our newest LM employees, Philip, has actually been helping out on this. If you look to the back of the car, come over here, Philip.
I don't want to.
It's fine. You gotta smile at the camera, Philip. This is Philip.
Smile, that sounds nice.
He came all the way from New York out here to Phoenix to work with us, and we're very excited to have him here. Philip, what have you been working on the tandem?
I'm adding basically a floor plate for the passenger so that they have a place to put their feet and then they're not sitting kind of precariously on top of the gas tank. So basically this is the top plate, and what right now we're waiting on material to come in order to water jet a plate that drops down here. So these would be bent down at a 60-degree angle and drop down, so you can either place your feet on the plate up top or on the lower section, so your foot would sit right about here, and then that will get connected to the frame with 2 welded on tabs.
And what is the most special feature of all, Nick Ricky?
Nitrous.
It is a wet shot nitrous oxide system.